Welcome to the Mom Founders Table. Pull up a chair and join me every week as I become your thought partner and help you lead to create change. I'm your host, Kelsey Kenry, entrepreneur, millionaire mom of three, and strategic business coach for established mom entrepreneurs. Every week, you will get tactical guidance to apply to your business, leadership, and life that will help you further your true success while also being invited into a new way of thinking and being that creates true freedom. I'm here to call you out and call you up, so take a seat and let's begin. You want to know what's the worst thing to experience? When you work your ass off to get new leads or clients for your business, you secure new sales, and then you feel like you have to turn around and do it all over again because the new sales and clients are not staying. This is what keeps people in this mode of mental exhaustion, is that at the end of the day, we want to grow. We want to grow bigger. We want to serve more people. We want our revenue to grow. We want our wealth to grow. We want our impact to grow. We want to leave a legacy behind. This is bigger than business for us. This is about something that is purposeful, that is meaningful. And so every time we have somebody new come into our business, no matter what service it is, I don't know about you, but for me, it is a huge privilege and gift. And I feel so elated and excited. And what sucks is when you're running a business and you feel like you don't even get to celebrate the people coming in because you're always having to chase the next person. And there's a reason why clients fall off. And we're going to talk about the different stages that people go through prior to coming into your business and when they get into your business, and how you can do better at each stage to keep more people. I cannot tell you the number of times where this has been a huge pain point for so many of my clients, because they come to me and they're like, we're killing it on the outside, but I'm dying a little bit on the inside because I have to hustle my ass off to sustain this. And I'm like, I get it. Why don't we see why things are not converting the way that they should in your marketing and sales, and how we can also boost your retention? So essentially, my goal for every single client is to take what you're doing that has worked, but do it better. Meaning that it's not about us developing an entirely new business and changing and upheaving everything so it feels very overwhelming. It's about us really narrowing in on what is happening, why is it happening, and how can we fix it? So if we can take your current marketing processes and systems, look at conversions and say, okay, how can we get more people attracted to our marketing platforms? Step number one. Step number two, how do we take more of those people and get them into our sales funnel? Step number three, how do we convert them from our sales funnel into our business? Step number four, how do we, once they're in our business, keep them for longer? So that's what we're going to talk about here today, because I don't want to see y'all tired all the time. And do you want to know the truth? People don't want to go find somebody new. Like, I've had multiple clients. At this point, I have multiple clients who have been with me for over 2 years, 3 years, because they're like, I cannot imagine having to go find somebody new and then like go through like the getting to know you process, and then having to teach them all about my business again. Like, you already know everything about me and my family and my quirks and my values and what I have. And so there's an element of it that's like, for me, it's like, of course I want to keep them because I know them. But for both of us, it's easier because I know them and they know me, and we just get shit done. So people desire long-term relationships. Like, This is a great example, but recently I fired my house cleaning company. And it took me, this is going to sound awful, it took me like a year to fire them. I see this happen so often with firing people that we know we need to fire, though, because I mean, there's a ton of reasons. It sucks. Like, that's just it. It sucks to fire somebody. But also, like, the thought of hiring somebody new is like, oh my God, I have to create the job posting. I have to put it out there. I got to do interview. Like, it's more work for us. So we just don't want to. So it literally took me a year to get rid of my cleaning company that I had given feedback multiple times that they were not meeting expectations. So all of that being said, people want to be able to secure a service that they can trust and be able to depend on continuing that service to be able to grow, right? Like, even if you are a project-based service, right? Let's say that you are a website designer or an interior designer. People are going to buy new houses. People are going to evolve their businesses and shift their messaging. They're going to need another website. They're going to need another room done or house done, or it's going to change. So they're going to want to come back to the person that they're comfortable with. And they're going to come back to the person that they're comfortable with, and they're going to come back to the person who gave them the best service. So let that be you, right? So this is applicable whether you have a service that is continuing with someone growing or a project-based service. So don't count yourself out if you're like, well, this doesn't apply to my business model because I'm project-based. I'm like, yes, but even if you are an interior designer, what happens with the person that you design for when they purchase, maybe they want to purchase an Airbnb? Who are they going to have design it? What happens when they sell their home and move? Who are they going to have design it? Right? So there's always a continuation. So we need to make sure that we're keeping people engaged, both in the marketing process, the sales process, and the client experience. These are 3 phases on our customer journey map. We have phase 1 is pre-business, right? Phase 1 is phase 1 is where they're becoming aware of you. This is pre-conversion. Phase 1 is pre-conversion, okay? Phase 1 is about awareness. Phase 1 is about trust building. It's about consideration. It's about decision making on like taking a step into the sales funnel. This is our phase 1. This is all pre-conversion. Phase 2 is the conversion phase. This is continuation of this is all about continuation of the trust building. This is about personalization. This is about making them feel seen, heard, understood. This is where they convert. And then there's retention as phase 3. And if you're not considering all 3 phases, which you guys, client retention, you have not listened to my episode on client retention, please listen to that after you listen to this one, because it is like you're leaving so much money on the table. That is, I don't like to use the word easy, but it is so much easier to sell to people you've already sold to. And that's just the fact, right? We know that we have our 3 phases in this customer journey map, right? We have our marketing phase, we have our sales phase, and then we have our client experience phase. Most businesses over focus on the front end of this. You're putting time, energy, and money into acquiring clients. This is your marketing spend. You're putting time, energy, money into acquiring clients, right? You're putting time, energy, money, possibly, depending on your sales process, into selling these new clients. Are you putting time, energy, money into client experience? If you were to lay this out in terms of effort, where would you say that you spend the majority of your effort? A lot of people would say that is on the front end of that. Marketing to people to bring in new leads and selling people to bring in new clients. And if you focus more on the back end, more on elevating your client experience, more on implementing things like feedback loops to see how you can improve based upon what your client is asking for. If you can create more clear communication by communicating with them more frequently, or communicating with them more clearly on where you are on things. Like improving your client experience is money and puts more money in your pocket, because you can implement, once again, you can implement as something as simple as sending out a middle of contract feedback form that asks how somebody feels about their service so far, what they want more of and what they want less of, so that you can course correct and or make it even better based upon whatever they say. And you're literally giving them what they want, which is then going to help them to stay with you. It costs you $0 to do that, like a couple hours of team support to build out the system for that, right? So I think that we get addicted to the chasing, and we need to start considering the back end of that. We need to start considering retention as our smartest business move. We need to start considering plans for increasing retention as much as we consider our marketing plans. It's easy for us to focus on the front end because, like I said, it is so exciting when we have new people come into our business. But isn't it equally exciting to have somebody stay month after month, year after year, to love you so deeply that they refer people to you without you asking, which also costs you nothing? So here's some common gaps that I'm seeing in this back end. Number one, there's just no retention processes in place. This is where we implement things like feedback loops, right? The better we serve people, the longer that they will stay. There's also, in considering an ascension model, if you will, depending on your industry, looking at what you're offering. And if you lay out the client journey from their perspective of who they are and how they change, do you have something in your business for this? So a great example of this is for my chiropractic offices. So I have chiropractic offices that will focus more on corrective care. I have chiropractic offices that are more, they do like holistic wellness, linked with chiropractic. And for both of these offices, you know, the models were built on really selling these big, like upfront care plans. But there was no plans in place for what happens when that care plan is done. And so implementing a next step maintenance offer for these places, two things happen. Number one, people get the care they need to maintain, because if you know anything about chiropractic, it's something that is very beneficial for your health. I'm a huge believer in chiropractic. I've gone to chiropractors since I was little, which is why I love working with them. Anyways, I digress. It keeps people getting the care that they need, and it creates monthly recurring revenue for the business. So it's a win-win on both sides. But a lot of times when I go into businesses, if it's something to where we are taking a person from point A to point B, there are services there for that, but we're not considering point C. We're not considering from point B to point C. We're not considering from point C to point D. We're not considering maybe what do they even need to get to point A, right? And so this is where I'm going to ask you to think bigger, like now knowing your ideal client, think about the phases that they walk through and what they need in each phase. And do you provide an offer and a service for that? Because again, people want to stay with you, right? If the natural next step, you know, let's say if you're a chiropractor and you're like, okay, well, in addition to this chiropractic, you also would really benefit from supplements. It's going to make sense for you to have supplements in your office. In addition to chiropractic, after we do this corrective care, you're going to also need, you know, weekly or monthly adjustments, but also you're going to need massage therapy. It would make sense for you to have a continuation maintenance package that is adjustments and massage therapy. So you have to make it make sense for people and you have to make it easier for them to say yes. So you need next step offers. You need entry level offers. You need maintenance offers. Like for me, I will always have a legacy coaching offer. Because if somebody wants to stay with me for 10 years, but really what they need is just to be able to, call me whenever and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, and they want me to be able to be there for them, cool. To me, it's like having that peace of mind of being able to have somebody that you can depend on that you already trust is well worth it. So if you're becoming that for somebody, you're already that. So it takes less effort for you to become that, for you to stay that for one person than it does to become that for somebody else. So we know that we need to make sure that these gaps are filled. The other thing that we have to do is we need to be able to spot our drop-off points. So I mentioned earlier, right, that we have these 3 phases that a client goes through with us, right? There is the marketing phase, there's the sales phase, and then there's the client experience phase. So in each of these phases, there's going to be drop off. Like we'll see, let's say this is a silly, easy way for me to put it to you, but like, let's say you make a social media post, and from that social media post, you get 100 new followers, and from those 100 followers, 50 of them opt into whatever lead magnet that you're promoting on that offer, and from that lead magnet, 25 of them actually engage or click in your email, and then 10 of them actually buy. So you hear how we started with the number 100 and then we end with the number 10 or 15 or whatever I said, but it's a drop off at every single point, and that's just going through the marketing and sales funnel, right? And so again, looking at and understanding your performance data, please do not ignore this. I understand as a business owner, you have a lot on your plate, but when we're talking about things that truly move the needle, you cannot ignore your finances, and you cannot ignore your data, your performance and your marketing and sales data. You cannot ignore these things, because when you know what those drop-off points are, it's just like identifying the gaps in your client journey by saying, man, we're seeing a huge drop-off in the people opting in for a certain lead magnet and people who buy. So what does that tell us? That tells us that whatever mechanisms that we're using to get them from the lead magnet to the paid offer need to be revised. Let's say you're using an email sequence. That means we need better messaging in our emails. That means we need to better position what the offer is. Like, look at the email data in that sequence. Where are people clicking? Where are they not clicking? Make it better. Improve that rate, right? It's the data is so powerful, because then you're not moving from assumptions. So we're going to first understand the phases that our client goes through. We're going to secondly focus just as much on the back end as we do on the front end. We're going to identify the gaps that we have, and we are going to identify the drop-offs that we have. When we do this, we're able to create simple fixes. We're able to create the offers that we need to fill those gaps. We're able to edit the email sequences that aren't converting. We're able to create those follow-up pulse check feedback loops for clients to retain them longer. This is why we have to look at those things, because otherwise we're just spinning our wheels. So if you feel like that you're constantly chasing new leads, if you feel like in order to keep your revenue high, your lead acquisition has to be super high, and you always have to bring in an influx of new people, what I will tell you is that you need to go through the steps that I have given you here today and start focusing on the back end and start identifying the drop-off gaps in your marketing and sales funnels. And I see too many entrepreneurs who offer the most amazing things, who do retain people well, but could do it better, who are tired of feeling like their model is based on getting those upfront wins. And this is why behind the scenes, I've been really working so intentionally on crafting a space that is going to change the way that our business models are set up as service providers, so that as women who really care about scaling for the right reasons, so that we can have not only bigger wealth, but bigger legacy and impact more people and feel like we are killing it in business while also thriving in our personal lives. I've crafted a really intentional space that's going to be curated to this type of woman who is running an established service-based business but wants to do it better. And I would love to share the first details of what this is with you. We're going to drop the link in the show notes so that you can get on the wait list so that we can just tell you about it. Again, this is not a commitment to buy anything. This is just you saying, oh, you're speaking to me. I need to implement these things in my business. I would like to scale smarter. I would like to ascend and reach more people. I would like to scale bigger. I would like to impact more people with my work. And also, I would love to feel internally good and proud and healthy, and like my relationships are thriving and my friendships are thriving, and I know who I am outside my business. If you are craving growth but different in the best way possible, we're going to drop that link. You can sign up for the wait list. That way you get your eyes first on what we are building. And I'm so excited to share this with you. Thank you guys for listening today. Please take the time. Remember, if you do not implement, it does not work. If you sit down and you actually look at where your gaps are, where the drop off is, and consider the phases of your client and intentionally focus on the back end, you're going to feel so proud. And you deserve to feel proud of yourself because you're killing it already. And if you could kill it without it feeling so heavy, wouldn't that be great? So sit down, do the thing, and I'll talk to you guys next week.